It started as a random online purchase, a dry yellow speck labeled as a dormant alien egg. But the moment I added water, that speck absorbed the moisture and woke up, rapidly expanding into a pulsating mass of slime. We usually assume biological complexity requires a central command center. A mammalian brain processes data through dense neural networks to make intentional choices. Without that, you're left with a hollow cellular structure where behavior should be limited to simple, predictable reactions. But this organism immediately broke those rules. When offered a variety of foods, it bypassed simple sugars like honey and systematically targeted thick, dense strands of spaghetti that were physically difficult to cut, showing a clear, calculated dietary preference. Its physical expansion was just as aggressive. The mass began doubling in size every single day. Soon, it was no longer staying on the bottom of its petri dish, but scaling the sheer vertical walls of its airtight enclosure. We are suddenly dealing with a brainless entity that doesn't just grow, it explores. It's a rapidly expanding mass that is already testing the limits of its environment in its search for more food. To test these problem-solving skills, I placed the organism inside an intricate ant maze. But even before the experiment truly began, the entity demonstrated its opportunistic nature by capturing and consuming a fly, proving it would actively hunt animal protein. Unlike animals using trial and error, this entity extends multiple tendrils, splitting to flow down every corridor simultaneously. Trapped, it climbs vertically, spilling over the maze walls to map the grid from above. Branches instantly retract, forming a single, straight line connecting directly to the food. Traditional walls and corridors are useless against a creature that can physically sense the entire layout of a room and then rewrite its own shape to move directly through it. With physical barriers failing, I tried a chemical trap. I poured a thick ring of salt around the mass. Because salt dehydrates cellular walls, the organism immediately recoiled, safely confined within the circle. But there was a second variable. Weeks earlier, a small piece of the organism had been separated. I kept this isolated fragment in a container constantly exposed to salt, forcing it to gradually adapt to the chemical. When I reunited the two pieces, they recognized each other. The two blobs slowly reached out, making contact, seamlessly melting back into one unified structure. This is a decentralized memory transfer. The moment they connect, the smaller piece instantly transfers its acquired immunity across the biological network, downloading survival instructions into the main mass. Armed with this new data, the combined organism turned back toward the ring of salt that had previously trapped it, and flowed right over the barrier. Chemical defenses fail when an entity functions as a collective mind, sharing resistance and memories through a single touch. Finally, I deployed an aggressive chemical kill powder, designed to rapidly dissolve the organism's cellular structure upon contact. At first, it seemed successful. The outer edges of the mass absorbed the powder, darkened, and underwent immediate, localized biological death. This diagram shows the defense: cellular amputation. The organism cleanly severs its infected outer nodes, isolating the dying sections. Then it goes on the offensive. The healthy tissue surges forward, consuming the poisoned sections and converting the lethal chemical into energy. Lethal containment becomes impossible when a biological system is flexible enough to neutralize toxins and then utilize those same chemicals for its own growth. Every action we've observed points to a startling reality. Memory, intelligence, and high-level adaptation do not require a centralized brain to function effectively. We started with a yellow speck. Now we have a mass that has solved physical mazes, downloaded chemical immunities, metabolized lethal poison, and even acquired a taste for animal protein. Human logic relies on rigid walls and static chemicals, but decentralized biology is fluid, treating every obstacle as a data point. Trying to contain this with amateur tools is a losing game. I have to surrender. Before it finds a way out of this facility, I'm shipping the surviving mass to a specialized bioexpert. Because if an entity this capable can hide inside a dormant, brainless speck, it makes you wonder what else is silently adapting in the world around us.